Hey gang, Justin from Santa Fe again, and today I am in a crawl space, as you can see, and we're talking about the Santa Fe Advance2 dehumidifier. So why am I in a crawl space talking about the Advance2? Good question. I'm going to tell you. So it's very important to control the air quality in our crawl space because it has a direct effect on our air quality in our living space. Anywhere from 40 to 50% of the air in our living space comes from our crawl space. And we get that through leaks, cracks, imperfections in the ductwork and the house. We also get it from stack effect, from the wind, etc. So it's very important to control the moisture and indoor air quality in our crawl space so that we can control it up in our living space. So before we get started in talking about our Santa Fe Advance2 dehumidifier, I want to talk about what we need to do to our crawl space first. It's never a good idea just to take the dehumidifier and throw it down in the crawl space without actually sealing it up first. It's essentially like taking that dehumidifier and putting it outside and trying to dehumidify the earth. You'll get a lot of water removal, but you're not going to get very good results. So we want to seal up the crawl space first before we put this bad boy to work. First thing we want to do is put at least a 12 mil liner over the ground. We want to prevent any moisture from coming up from that soil, from that ground. Next thing we want to do is close off any vents to the outside. We want to keep the dry air that this dehumidifier produces in the crawl space, and we want to keep that wet air outside of the crawl space. To give an example, a crawl space is already a cold environment or a cooler environment. It could be anywhere from 60 to 75 degrees. And in the summertime, if you have high dew point temperatures outside and the crawl space vents are open, that air is coming into the crawl space. And it's important to remember that any surface temperature that drops below the dew point temperature, could be 1 degree, is going to form condensation on it. So another example, if we have 71 degree dew point temperatures outside and the surface temperatures of our crawl space are 70, we're going to have condensation all over those surfaces. So it's important to seal up that crawl space before we put this bad boy to work. Now let's talk about the Santa Fe Advance2 dehumidifier. The Advance2 is a 90 pint dehumidifier that draws 5.7 amps, has an efficiency of 6.1 pints per kilowatt, and is Energy Star rated. This system typically handles about 2,200 square feet in a crawl space environment, and that's based off your standard 3 to 5 foot ceiling heights in a crawl space. Now let's take a closer look at the dimensions. Dimensionally, the Santa Fe Advance2 is 14.5 inches in width, 19.4 inches in height, 26 inches in length, and weighs about 80 pounds. Another unique feature on the Advance2 is that it features a dual exhaust, or dual exhaust outlets, which allows for better air distribution to multiple locations. The dual exhaust is unique to the Santa Fe Advance2 in that it helps promote better airflow and overall efficiency. And by moving air in 2 different directions, it really helps us speed up dry time and allows for better airflow in those hard to reach areas of the crawl space. Let's take a closer look at how this unit works. So pretty straightforward, air is going to come through the front or intake, the return of the dehumidifier, and pass over a standard MERV 8 filter. There's filter door access on each side of the dehumidifier. That filter should be replaced and changed out every 3 to 6 months. We also have a standard MERV 11 filter as an upgrade. From there, it passes over an evaporator coil where water is condensed out, and then it discharges out of our supply or dual outlets of the dehumidifier. To take a closer look at how water is gravity fed out of this system, we've got a gravity fed drain hose set up here. I have the unit up on blocks for demonstration purposes. You could also get a hang kit as an optional accessory to get the unit high enough. We want the unit high enough so it drains properly. In order to do that, you need to run a drain trap or a P-trap in this line. So we have the unit up on blocks here for demonstration purposes to run that drain trap and get it off the ground high enough. From here, you can run your water into a sump pit, wherever you have access to drain it to. We also have an optional condensate pump that can be purchased to get the water up and out of the space. That's ideal for most crawl spaces. From there, the cord itself is going to get plugged into a standard 120 volt outlet. Typically a 15 amp circuit is what you're looking for, and you want that to be a protected outlet. So typically a 15 amp GFCI outlet is where you want to plug that unit into. Let's take a closer look at the controls here. We've got a pretty basic turn dial dehumidistat, just turns back and forth here. We usually recommend that you keep that right at the word normal, right in between the word normal. That's going to be between 45 and 55% relative humidity. From there, we've got a standard fan switch here. You can put it in the auto position or in the on position. Keeping it in the on position means the fan is going to run all the time, regardless of dehumidification. Putting it in the auto position means it only runs during dehumidification mode. You can have it in the on position or the auto position. We usually recommend keeping it in auto so it runs only during dehumidification mode. But if you want continuous circulation and filtration, flip it in the on position and it'll run all the time. So that was a closer look at the basics of setting up a Santa Fe Advance 2 in a crawl space setting. I'm gonna go put my knees on some ice and put this bad boy to work. Thanks for joining me.